No show for you. Hey, we're going live on YouTube. Let's do this.
Alrighty.
All right. We're going to be joined a little bit late here, but we're going to go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a late start. It's a little bit late start here. And we're getting things going here as YouTube is messing around with me. So there we go. All right. We're all back ready. Stations are getting hooked up here as we get going. Jason Wright for the Ultimate Outdoor Adventures is with me here this morning. Jason, good morning, man. How the heck have you been?
No, not too bad, Scott. Interesting would be the word of the day, I think, and it's kind of been how my life's been the last few weeks. But it's been, I can't complain. The days have all been good. Some days are just better.
Yeah, he's not. I've had a tough 4 weeks. Guess what my latest incident was?
Oh boy. Well, your latest
My
incident.
latest incident. I've had kidney stones.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I've had some lower back something going on, and now guess what? My latest one was here like 3 days ago. Of all the,
You sprained an ankle.
I wish I blew out my knee on the last calf of
Oh
branding.
no. You know what? I was going to say it must have had something to do with branding. Oh, you're
It
kidding.
did, yeah, the very last calf. Go figure, huh? But you know what?
Oh
The
my
good
God.
news is I'm surrounded with like some of the greatest people in this community. All stepped in to help me. We're getting my calves, my heifers AI'd here on Monday, and doing pretty good. So, but
Well, that part's good. That part's good.
hopefully it'll recover quickly on
Yeah.
that. So what's the heck's going on there? I mean, you're up at the lake right now. It's Lake Sakakawea. How do things look up that way?
You know, things are really good up here. Well, I, from a land standpoint, anyway, today it's a little breezy and had a cold front come through last night. But yeah, I've been up here for the past week, and the water level is rising like crazy. You know, with all the rain we've had, the runoff that's coming in, fishing has been really, really good, much better in particular areas of the lake. But things are really looking good. The fishery is really healthy. I'm watching boats out right now, trying to stay out of the wind today. But probably the most interesting part right now would be in the past week and a half, we've had all these mid 80s, low 90s, and no wind. And I was actually finding water temperatures. Now, again, when I talk water temperature, I'm talking maybe the top foot to 2 feet of the surface, you know, and I found 80 degrees. And I'm finding 80 degrees in a place that it should not be 80 degrees in June. Out in the western part of the lake, near Saddle Butte and in that part of the lake, you know, 79 degrees was Thursday afternoon. That's Main Lake. That's crazy.
Is it?
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that this front that came through and the wind that we got going on is going to kind of shift some water around and make a little bit of a difference. But as far as the fishery goes, and I'm here at Lake Sakakawea State Park. It's my favorite place to be on Lake Sakakawea. And as you know, we have many, many great places on this lake, and we're very fortunate and lucky to have this resource.
So when you're talking about are the temperatures warmer than usual, or are they about right where they need to be at this time of year?
Well, very few times do I ever remember seeing 80 degrees anywhere in this lake any time of the year.
Really? So
And
usually like
I,
upper 60s,
it's
70s, or
chilly.
what?
It could be probably this time of year. Let's say the eastern half of this lake, 65, 60, 65, maybe it's mid 60s. The western part of the lake is always going to be warmer, especially up into the Van Hook Arm. It's a shallower basin up in there. And what has happened is there's just been no wind to move this water around. For example, a week ago, last week, I think it was last Saturday or Sunday, one of those 2 days, and we had some wind that had come through, and it moved in the bay I was fishing. It moved the 70-degree water from one side of the bay to the other side, and so it was 60 on one side, and a half mile away it was 70 degrees. So that's how the wind can play a role. And sometimes in the month of June, early June, that difference in water temperature can really play a factor in your fishing. And right this year, I'm not so sure if it's playing as big a deal as usual, but that's just I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting what happens in the next week. It could mean that there's going to be a lot of different techniques and presentations that are going to be working this time of year, whereas maybe they wouldn't be working a little bit later, and or maybe that's just the top, you know, foot or two of this lake. that had warmed up, and now with this wind, it's going to start moving the water around. So it'll be interesting the next couple of days to see what happens.
So guy texts in, he says, what does a higher average water temperatures mean to the average Joe out there fishing? What, he got to go a little deeper to get these walleye, or what's the scoop?
Well, I'll be honest, that part I'm not sure about yet, because I don't think that I've ever experienced it in all my years of fishing, not this early in the year. Thinking that it could be just the surface of the water that's that as warm, and maybe down below, a few feet isn't as warm. I'm still targeting the shallow fish. I like to target shallow fish probably right on through the 4th of July. And when I mean shallow, I mean 2 to maybe 8, 9 feet of water, 10 feet of water at very most. And so I'm kind of looking for those, the structure that's sticking out, the points, the rocky areas. If you have a wind-swept area, maybe target those. I always feel that those fish are going to be hungry. They're in there for a reason. It's kind of like if we go to the Ground Round in Bismarck, we're going there to have a few drinks and to eat food. So that's kind of what these shallow fish are doing. They're there for a reason. Then I always figure that they're between me and shore, so they're in a particular area. And then I kind of fish fast and I search for them, and I look for them. That's just what I like to do. Other people, a lot of people, they'll use a bottom bouncer and a spinner, bottom bouncer and plain hook, and they'll just do it all year long. And then you've got people who just crankbait all year long. I like to use jigs and plastics or minnows this time of year, and just search for those shallow fish that are feeding. It hasn't been that long since they've spawned, so this is a post-spawn bite still. And so these fish are really needing to feed heavy right now. And it's probably the best month to be on this lake.
Waylon says fishing was good at New John's last weekend. He said that's exactly what they got them at New John's, was 2 to 6 feet of water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think in North Dakota this time of year, anytime that you're past the spawn, again the month of June, especially from Memorial Weekend through probably the 15th of June, that shallow bite is phenomenal. And pretty much any of our North Dakota lakes, whether it's the big reservoir here in Lake Sakakawea or our prairie lakes, Devil's Lake, of course, the fish can always be shallow, but as we get later into the year, they'll drop down. Water temperature will start to play a major role. This year, it could be a factor that's going to happen sooner than later, where you might have to go down 15 to 25 feet. I'm hoping for me that I don't have to start doing that until the second week of July.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the weather, I guess, has been pretty favorable. I mean, you don't want a lot of wind out there. It's kind of nice to get out there in some glass, isn't it?
It is. Well, yeah, I'm not going to complain. All week long, I've been putting in at Dakota Waters Resort on the south side of this lake, another favorite place of mine. And we've been running about 30 miles west, and my dad's been fishing with me. And these mornings where it's glass calm, and of course the scenery of the western portion of this lake is phenomenal. It's beautiful. You get out by Indian Hills area, another place that is it's gorgeous. Probably one of the most beautiful places on Lake Sakakawea. But you get out there, you get the Badlands, and it's just a beautiful country. And every time I've been fortunate to hunt a lot of that country.
Yeah. Well, Jason, we'll hold it right there. We're up against our first break, so stand by. Jason Wright with Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV's with us, talking fishing this morning. If you want to get in on that, feel free to give us a call, 888-932-5682. We'll be back after these messages.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a Livestock Risk Protection LRP policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a Livestock Risk Protection LRP policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. You can hear my daily show on all these radio stations, plus many more, as my website is being under construction here for a little while here because, Jason, you and I were talking over the break here while everybody else is listening to sponsors here, how social media can be good and bad, and like websites, for some reason, somebody was tying like Viagra to my website. So anytime you looked up Dakota Prairie Outdoors, you'd come up with that. Now we have to reconstruct the entire website.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be, there's so many positives about the digital age. And ironically, the class I teach at Horizon Middle School in Bismarck is all about the digital world. Trying to, show and model how to use the digital world as a positive place, as a place to learn and educate. But I'm going to say it out loud. Parents need to parent. And I know we got off
Yes,
topic
they
here a
do.
little bit, but the digital world when it comes to fishing, what a great resource.
Absolutely.
we have some really good people. I used to think that I was really good, when the digital world was kind of born and social media popped up, and I was all over that, and I think a lot of people, they would make fun of me a little bit in a positive way, but we always know what JW is doing, where he's at and what he's doing, what he's catching, what he's hunting. And time has maybe gone by, and I've maybe, laid off that a little bit. And of course, if you go to look at my stuff, there's only a couple things I share, and usually it's good things. It's going to be positives about the communities, the places I visit, and my hunting and fishing trips. But it's amazing how you can learn from people. I really enjoy watching videos about the outdoor world, especially fishing. When people are talking about what they're doing. And you can always tell when there are people that are just feeding you full a bunch of baloney because they're just trying to do something, make something, you know what I'm saying, without going out and just saying it.
Yeah.
And then you got the people that are just legit. I like that. You can tell. Maybe not everybody can, but I've always been that type of person when I go to workshops, and I can always tell. And, and I tell my students, I said, if you're going to talk the talk, you need to back it up and walk it. You need to model it and do it. But yeah, so when it comes to Lake Sakakawea, follow some of these people in the digital world, find some of these people that you feel are trustworthy. And if you want to learn about this lake, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not trying to learn something. Yeah. Maybe that is because that I've been fishing this lake for basically 20 years, or not 20 years, 40 years, actually fishing it. With my dad and growing up without the digital media. And so I'm constantly learning and thinking. My mind is going nonstop. But like to break Lake Sakakawea down into like let's say 3 sections plus the river. You got the eastern section. I'm going to say that's like the Beulah Bay, Douglas Bay, all the way to the 83 embankment. In the month of June, like right now, those that follow me, I love jigs and plastics, jigs and minnows, jigs and night crawlers if I have to. And I fish shallow. And other people this time of year, Douglas Bay is a great place to be. The South Shore from Pick City to Beulah can be just phenomenal. You got the Stanky Bay up towards West Taunton. You got so many great places. And if you're new to this area, pick out an area, pick out a spot and try to learn it. Wolf Creek's another one. You don't have to try to do it all in one day. But right now, I'd be targeting these fish in 5 to 15 feet of water with jigs or Lindy rigs, bottom bouncers, plain hooks, spinners. You can do it all, crankbaits. And then the midsection, Beulah Bay, let's say to even as far out as Indian Hills or beyond, Red Butte on the south side, Mandan Bay, that right now, you see more people using bottom bouncers there, trolling crankbaits. You have more flats, long areas where you can just fish long stretches. And you got the western edge, which for me would be getting close to the Little Missouri Arm, running up into the Van Hook Arm. And that's like a whole nother body of water itself. You got big, long flats, a lot of sunken islands, a lot of places where it's great and easy for a family, kids. Most people out there, it's just a variety of presentations. A lot of people trolling crankbaits shallow. If you get up into the Van Hook Arm, you probably don't see as many people with jigs as you do with bottom bouncers and spinners and night crawlers and minnows. But right now, pretty much any presentation that you enjoy doing will work this time of year. The key is don't just always go back to 22 feet of water or 12 feet of water, because this time of year, you may need to check 5 to 10 feet all the way out to 20. Oftentimes the days that I struggle, in the month of June, let's say I struggle pitching jigs shallow in that, 2 to 10 feet. And I'll come in and some people talk about how they had the day of their life. They were using Lindy rigs and minnows in 18 feet of water. Yeah. So there's the difference, and I know that. I just choose to do what I like to do this time of year.
You hear a lot of people say, well, I've been catching them in this amount of water. And then everybody goes to that level. And it seems like it's hard for them to change because they've seen somebody do very, very well on that. But it can change from day to day and even from the morning to the afternoon, couldn't it?
It can change within minutes.
Yeah.
Dad and I were fishing a underwater point here the other morning, and it wasn't that early. It was like 9, 10 in the morning, and it was pretty much every other cast. I mean, it was fantastic. It was fun. And all of a sudden, bam, like that, done. And I was like, what the world?
Yeah.
That was just awfully fast. And there really wasn't anything weather-wise, wind-wise to make a change. And it actually took me some time because the area, it didn't drop off real fast. So it was kind of a steady, slow drop. And I had to put the boat in like 12 to 14 feet of water, but I was pitching into 9 to 10 feet of water. Part of it could have been where the sun was. There wasn't a lot of wind. So the light was probably playing a factor, and those fish had just moved out a little bit. But yeah, if I would have just stayed in that same depth the rest of the day, I probably would have done no good,
Yeah.
but I had to kind of figure it out and search it. I knew that they didn't go far. So I spent quite a bit of time to figure out where they were.
Maybe I could use this knee injury that I have now to go after more fishing, and because I can't do much at the ranch. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the key.
It could be. It could be. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, it's a bummer when you're doing something, your livelihood, and you get injured. It doesn't work out very good.
It doesn't. Maybe it'll work out. So every year, I think last year was the first year I didn't get in on the Dakota Walleye Classic. This year I'm back in, and
Good.
I've been helping MC it and host it up there and helping with security boats and for many years, and I got to the point where like, you know what, let's fish it. And the bad part about it was last year I couldn't go, so Jesse took his wife, and they actually were, after day one, they were like in 6th place. So
I know. I remember that.
I think the good luck part of that whole thing is his wife. Maybe I should go with his wife and go fishing.
Well,
maybe then we could
that
get
might
in the
not-
money.
Well, I might have to try that, or maybe you taught Jesse something.
I taught Jesse something
Yeah, maybe
to
the year
listen
that
to
you
his
fished
wife.
with him.
I don't know.
Well, maybe that's Well, I don't think you can teach guys to do that, though.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
I'm not going to hold any seminar on that one.
Come on, you open up the bank. Let's go for it here.
Yeah, that's right.
When I mentioned before that my website has been hacked by like Viagra and those things, Levi Nelson says he just thought that was my new sponsor.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a good sponsor.
Well, I'll tell you
know?
this right now. If they want to sponsor me, we'll make a deal out of that. And the mayor of Mobridge said, but if you listen to my show, you don't need Viagra.
Oh,
And
Well,
I don't really know how to take that one, so I'm just gonna let that one slide.
I'm not sure either. Yeah, we won't touch that one right now.
Elliot, we got about 60 seconds here before the next break coming up. But if there was one thing, we're talking digital age. What in the fishing industry over the years that you started, 40 years, one digital thing that's made a difference?
Oh boy. Well, just our electronics alone, and we can get into that after the break. But that's made the difference for the majority of the people out there now. Well, a particular age group. I think so. When I talk about how my mind is going, I'm mentally building pictures of the area I'm fishing constantly. And we'll talk about a few other things, but that's the way I can put that together with what has happened in the digital world with electronics. And whereas a lot of people that are younger, they've grown up with the electronics, which has made their fishing better, quicker, if that makes sense.
It does. We'll get into that more, and especially the electronic side here as we get the next break. And we'll take your calls and questions. 888-932-5682 is the toll-free number if you want to call in, or you can text me. A lot of people asking questions on my YouTube channel. You can sure do that, or you can text my phone at 701-425-6651. Talking fishing on Lake Sakakawea with Jason Wright from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. One of the many co-hosts there. We'll be back right after these messages all across the Dakota Territory. Good to have you along.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a livestock risk protection LRP policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
As you know, the cattle prices are fluctuating. It can be difficult for livestock producers to protect their investment against unexpected future. Let Dakota Community Insurance protect you against the unexpected future declines in the cattle market with a Livestock Risk Protection (LRP) policy. Contact Dakota Community Insurance today to discuss how LRP can help you manage your risk. Dakota Community Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors continues on a beautiful Saturday morning, and it's a little bit breezy out, but a lot of things going on around the Dakota Territory, man. I tell you what, last weekend was the free fishing weekend for residents of North Dakota, and South Dakota has been going at it. Some great fishing going on down there. Saw Brent Kimnitz on Lake Oahe just slamming them down that way too, and Waylon Turnus. Jason, you and I were just talking about him here the other just in the first part of the program. Now, he sent me some photos. He said that you saw him at River City, but folks on YouTube, if you want to see, look at the size of those walleye that they're coming out of New John's up there. Just absolutely beautiful walleye coming out that way. So a couple of questions first start out here. First, Wayne says, Jason, do you bleed your fish?
Yes, I do, 100%. I've done it for, I want to say, maybe up to 10 years now, maybe 5 to 10, probably at least 10, but, I never used to. But it makes as big a difference as you've seen on YouTube videos or any social media video or what everybody tells you. And sometimes they'll turn out better than others. You need to believe them when they're lively, of course. And by doing that, it doesn't take much. A little slit in the gills is all it takes. And I bleed mine out in the live well. Some people will put them into a bucket or whatever, and that's all. That's perfectly fine. I leave mine, if possible, I keep them alive all day long in the live well. And then when I'm prior to loading the boat at the end of the day, I'll bleed them right there in the live well, wash everything out, then put them on a cooler with ice. It would probably be just as smart, if not smarter, especially on these hot days, is rather than filling a live well full, to just put some water in there maybe, or in a bucket, bleed it. If you're going to keep that fish, bleed it, put it on ice right away. Nothing. It's like any game, whether it's fish or game. The quicker you can get things on ice and take care of things, the better it's going to be in taste. But yes, it gets rid of the blood. And these fillets oftentimes will be just almost see-through. It makes that big a difference. It is pretty cool.
See, that's something that I've never done before. So it looks like you guys got to do that now. Wayne says, I agree with you, Jason. Thanks for the information. Let's see. Scott, you need to get a cereal sponsor called Honey Nut and Raisin. Yeah. Gene Cox said, I had a conservation professor tell me 30 years ago about finding or not finding wildlife where they should be according to books. Wildlife can't read books, so they don't know where they should be. But when it comes to the fishing side, it's the same thing. I mean, you can talk to a lot of different people that have had very good success that day. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have that same success the next day or a week later. And it could be too. I mean, it might be that you might be successful in that same spot.
Well, let's talk about Lake Sakakawea again for when it comes to that question. On the eastern end of this lake. Now, I'm going to speak for myself. The last couple years on the eastern end of this lake, I've been able to go out one day and let's just say I'm by myself and I have a really good day. And, pictures don't tell the story. A lot of people will text me or they'll message me or put something on my social media and, talking about, wow. And I said, well, what they don't know is maybe it took me 5 hours to find those fish. And the last couple of years, though, going back to the same spot on the eastern end of this lake, it has been difficult for me to repeat what I did the day before. Now, if you go the further west you go, that starts to change a little bit. So oftentimes you can go back, but the weather is going to play a major factor, weather and bait fish. We've got a good population of smelt. I know about last year, there was a really good spawn. I guess I'm going to be honest, I haven't quite heard this year or just haven't paid attention yet this year. We've got the white bass had done really good last year spawning. And so there's a lot of food in this lake, which is a good thing. We need that. This reservoir is rising quickly. That plays a role in your fishing. Those fish may move because of that. This cold front last night. So there are a lot of factors. And sometimes if you go back to an area where you slammed them yesterday, so you're taking the family back. I've done this many times. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to get my youngest daughter out there. We're going to have the day of our life. And it's like we get out there and it's like 2 hours and nothing, so then you kind of go into search mode. And that's what you got to do. You have to look for them. It's kind of like pheasant hunting. You keep, I use that a lot when I'm fishing with people. My dad, even the other day, is like, well, I'm done. I said, yeah, but we can't quit until we finish off at the end of this point, because it'd be like walking for pheasants and stopping 50 yards before you get to the end of the tree row.
Yeah, and
we all know where they're going to be.
200 pheasant come out at the last 50 feet. Yeah,
exactly. So you have to look for them. It's not like deer hunting sometimes where you can sit in one spot and look across the land with a spotting scope. Sometimes you need to go find them. If you're a bow hunter, you're most likely not going to spend every waking moment in Western North Dakota only sitting on the highest point. You're probably going to creep around a little bit in the morning. So you do have to look for them. But depending on Lake Sakakawea, for example, depending on what part of this lake you fish, the time of year, you can't always just go back to the same spot the next day. And I get it. I think most of the time when I've taken my youngest one, especially, going back to where it was great the day before isn't always great when I take her.
So you were talking about electronics being one of the biggest things in technology that's come out in a long time for fishing. When I'm at those tournaments at the Dakota Walleye Classic, you see a lot of folks, if they come over, they slow down, they're using their side imaging scanning, they go up maybe along a point and come back. And if they don't see anything on the screen, they take off, go to someplace else. Is that the best and most effective way of checking to see if this is going to be a spot, or should a person put a line in and maybe you're missing something on the screen? I don't know.
Well, I'm going to say that really for me now, that depends on the time of year. So electronics, here's how I think that they've changed the world of fishing. I'm not going to say the world, the fishing in North Dakota, at least for the people that I know. Okay. And with social media now, you are watching a whole different group of another generation of young people growing up. I'm going to say people that are right now, let's say 20 to early 30s. A lot of people were able to just go out, get a boat, go fishing, and become good at it. Most days. It's the days where they go back to the same spot where maybe they scratch their head thinking, well, wait a second, how come I can't catch fish today? So the difference is, yes, once the fish get to a certain depth, I'm going to use July, August, September, for example. If I'm targeting fish that are, let's say, 17, 18 to 30 feet, I most likely am not going to fish until I drive that area. I'll zigzag back and forth from maybe 18 to 30 feet, and I will look for those fish. And every fish I see, I will mark it on my GPS. And then if there were enough fish where I think, okay, I can go through this stretch and catch these fish, then I will go back and I will fish them.
Okay.
I will do the same thing on a point. Now, this time of year for me, I'm going to say that I sight fish more, but most people, when they think sight fishing, you're actually looking for the fish. I'm looking for the structure of where the fish are going to be. I use Google Earth religiously, and most people probably maybe don't know, but if you have Google Earth Pro, there's a timeline. I like to go back to like the year 2006 or the year 2013, and I look at all parts of this lake, and I study them. Because those years the water was lower, especially 2006. And I look at all the points of the areas that I like to fish. So I've got a mental map in my head, because there is no piece of electronics or GPS chip out there, a card reader that is as good as Google Earth. You can't argue with it. It is exactly right. And so that's how I find a lot of my shallow fishing areas. Whereas a lot of people, for example, we were fishing a spot the other day, and my dad, he asked, how did you know that was there? He said, because he kept looking at the GPS, and he said, I don't see what you're telling me. Because I kept telling him there's a point that sticks way out underwater. But I have two different SD cards in there that I use. Neither one of them shows that point. But I know it was there because of Google Earth. I look at them. And what I oftentimes will do is I will pin things on Google Earth. I will take those Google Earth pins and I will change them into a waypoint that I can upload into my electronics. So that's how I use electronics. But I also grew up in a time where hard copy maps, paper maps, I used to study them all night long. They're before the good electronics, before the GPS units were out there. So I think that's where those of us that are my age and older, we have an advantage there. It doesn't mean we're better, but we have an advantage because we have a lot more tools to go from, besides just using the side imaging or the active target 2s. I don't always rely on those things. There are days where I think to myself that there are fish here. Where are they? I choose maybe not to use all the electronics that I have in the boat at the time. But electronics has changed the world for a lot of people. We do have incredible mapping, and it helps navigate these waters, especially on years like this, where this lake has risen 9 feet since ice out. And it is rising every day. As we were talking at the break, there are all these rainstorms that are popping up. Little Missouri is running hard.
Yeah.
We got the Yellowstone running hard. So as far as how the electronics has changed, it's allowed more people to become better fishermen quicker. That's how I'm going to say it's probably changed the most.
Yeah. One guy says, can somebody please tell us how not to catch a rough fish?
Jeez. Don't go fishing with me. This week, I've caught more drum and catfish pitching jigs shallow for walleyes than I probably have in my entire life. It's amazing. It got to the point where all week long, Dad and I would be kind of joking. I'd say, "Do you think it's the right species?" And it's just like, it's a crapshoot.
It
Who
is.
knows?
Yeah.
Between northern white bass, smallmouth bass, lots of drum. I mean, I tell you what, I figured out the technique to catch drum.
Well, did you at least keep the ivory out of the drums?
I didn't, It's like,
Oh.
now, if I would have been just fishing for drum, I would have done that. It's kind of, I bet we've probably caught 15 to 20 pretty nice catfish throughout the week, and they fight great.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet it's like that's not what I'm wanting at that time, and it's just kind of funny how if we were on the Red River or if we were up in Winnipeg someplace on the Red River catfishing, that'd have been awesome,
Yeah. So here's a great question that Gene pulls up here. He says, in the fishing world, are electronics as controversial as baiting? That's a good question.
Well, I'm going to be kind of honest there. I think sometimes for me, it takes a little bit of fun away from it. So when I'm saying that, I don't know if it's the fun away, but it gets to be a lot of stuff, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to work with. So the active target.
But I mean, if you show up to the boat dock, Jason, and your boat's loaded up with a screen in the bow, you got one on your console, maybe one in the backside, right? You have screens everywhere. It's not like they're going to be screaming at you from the sidelines saying, "Oh, you're a cheater! You're a cheater!" They're not going to do that, right? I mean, it's not like there's people out there, groups trying to get away and take away your screens and your GPS points and everything on your boat like they are the baiting side.
No. I don't know if it's the cheating so much as it is as an angler that's grown up and watched all this happen. And I'm only going to be 50 years old, so I'm not very old, but I've seen a lot of things change as you have with the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, in my opinion, it's gotten to be kind of a lot. So, oftentimes I tend to just scale it back a little bit. But then there are those days where I kind of wonder, if I drop my active target 2 down, I could probably determine if there are fish here for sure, but I've chosen maybe to keep things a little simpler. But yes, I have plenty. I've scaled back my electronics in my boat. I have one in the bow, one at the console, one in the rear, whereas I used to have more. But again, the money plays a role in this too.
Yeah.
It all costs money. But as far as cheating, no. What I think it has done for a lot of people, maybe my generation, a little bit older, they see a lot of young people going out and creaming fish when maybe we had to work at it. We had to read magazine articles. We had to go listen to seminars. We had to figure it out with paper maps underneath the street lamp at the boat dock. We didn't have the digital world to rely on. So maybe I'm going to throw out the word jealous a little bit. Maybe I even get jealous of these guys in their 20s, that are figured all this stuff out. And so it's a different way. It's kind of like, it's young people today. As adults, some of us think that the digital age is ruining young people. Or is it just something we need to let go or as I said earlier, maybe parents need to be parents, but
well, if the parents are letting these kids go out and go fishing, I think that's a step up, right? I mean,
well, that's true. Yes. But then maybe we shouldn't get jealous when they're having this great success. We need to appreciate that fact, and so I don't know if it's cheating as much as it is. It's taken a little bit away from it for those of us that have gone through the ages, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. How about the boat manufacturing? If you get a boat from the 90s to early 2000s, all the way up to now the 2020s, have they changed that much to the point where it makes it that much more comfortable and easier?
Well, the price has changed.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I know.
The people, yes, there are definitely comfort features. My last 2 boats, and I just got another boat. I run the Vexus boat line. I love it. The manufacturing has changed. Now, has the manufacturing process and the product itself changed to the point where it's this, again, I talk to my dad a lot, but I told my dad the other day when he was talking about the price of the boat, and I said, I know, and it should be able to fly, but it can't. And the things we do with a boat that's as expensive as this and put them through what we do, the process has changed. I think when it comes to the resin, the fiberglass and things like that, they're able to build stronger boats. But there's still screws involved. There's still, strip screws. I don't care what you pay for the boat. The interesting thing is whether that boat is 100,000, 50,000, 20,000, the same people are building that boat. It's not like you passed the test. So now that the customer's buying a $75,000 boat, he's getting these people to build it. So the quality is probably more dependent on how the boat manufacturing company is managing their crew. No different than any business. Let's put it branding. Okay, you hire a bunch of people that are careless, don't give a darn, and your branding's probably not going to go very good. It's not going to go smoothly. So let's put it that way. It comes down to the manufacturer. I guess one thing that I really like about my boat is the wiring. They've done a better job as far as where they've placed the wires, how the boat is wired. It makes it very easy for me to wire my own boat as far as electronics and things like that. So those kinds of things. But the ride of the boats, definitely, boats have improved that with the type of hull that they are building. But you're also seeing a lot of boats that are 21 to 22 and a half feet long. 1 foot makes a difference in the ride. For as long as I can remember, I've been really big into having a seat suspension system, okay, to protect your back. You were talking about back issues. I've been a diehard smooth moves suspension system person. I love that business, the company, the people. I found them when my dad was going through his cancer bout 10, 11, 12 years ago. And it's a suspension system where in rough water, it helps, soften the ride. There's many different ones out on the market. I got to be honest, Smooth Moves is the only one I've ever used. I've not been in another boat with different types. They're all great. My favorite is the Smooth Moves Ultra Air. It's basically like what a semi truck would have in their trucks. And mine has got an electric compressor in it. So with a push of the button, I can air the seat up, or I can let air out, make it smoother or softer, and that's a game changer. It's not such a digital thing as it is a game changer. You're seeing a lot of boat manufacturers now putting them in their boats. I think that these boats are coming with engines that are 400 horsepower. It's insane. You put that much engine on a boat, and you're going across 3-foot waves. Things break. And the other day at Dakota Water, somebody came in with a trolling motor that snapped off, So sometimes the digital world is allowing people to get into fishing easier, faster, becoming better, but they miss out on some of the common sense things in the world.
All right. One last question before we go here is we only got 30 seconds. How do you get your wife to not be so loud when she catches a fish?
Well, so Scott, my wife used to fish with me a lot. I mean, a lot. And then the day came where she just kind of decided that boating wasn't her thing as much. So she's usually at the camper reading a book. I feel bad about it, but she says that's what she loves to do.
There you go.
She just likes to sit and read.
Make it unenjoyable for them. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Eat some meat, drink some milk, have yourself a good weekend. We'll be back next Saturday, same time, same place. All right, stations, thank you. Jason, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming in there and taking a little Saturday morning off of fishing for me.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I like the break. Hope I don't talk too much.
Nope. Makes it easy for me, man. I mean, a lot of questions here. My chat board is full, so that was nice.
Yeah, I had a number of text messages. It's always nice. People that are driving up the lake listening. Yep. So yeah, I actually must have had 13 of them. Some from people I haven't even talked to in a number of years. So that's good.
It's always nice to get feedback. Yeah.
It is. Well, the show's on at a good time for a lot of people driving to the lake and doing different things. And I don't know, I hear more and more people when I'm out and about, people will talk about it and, say, oh, I heard this the other day. And, so I try to catch it whenever I can. I enjoy listening and laughing sometimes. And, That's
what it's about, right? Keeping in touch with people and having fun when you do stuff.
Yep. No, I really like it. So if I like it, it must be not just a bunch of BS.
Well, hey, man, I will see you up at Dakota Walleye Classic.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. something comes up, let me know.
I will. Have a good night, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
Oh, thanks, Waylon. Appreciate that, YouTube. Sorry it was kind of cluster, to get going here this morning, but we got her done. Have yourself a good one. Catch you later.